Alright, more hidden Easter eggs and secret details in Star Wars Outlaws. And does this ramp on Tatooine look familiar? Yes, this is the very same ramp from the Boonta Eve podrace, aka the podrace as seen in Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. A little fact about that race, it had the highest mortality rate of any podrace competition in the entire galaxy. Only 6 racers finished, just 33% of the initial 18 participants. A tribe of Tusken raiders even fired at the pod racers, the leader of which has a name. And I'm not even gonna try and pronounce that. Yes, that is actually his name. The Boonta Eve race takes place on the Mos Espa circuit. So why is it not called the Mos Espa race? That's because it's an event to commemorate the Boonta Eve holiday. The winner of that race was of course Anakin Skywalker, who finished with an official time of 15 minutes and 42 seconds. Behind the scenes, George Lucas actually timed the race to see how many laps could be completed at actual pod racing speed, which is around 900 kilometers per hour, and then use that to determine the length of the course. This data log references why stormtroopers are so bad at hitting their targets. It reads, "The excessive levels of pressurized steam makes the stormtroopers' lenses fog up. My troops can't keep putting up with these poor working conditions." So stormtroopers are not poor shots, they just have faulty equipment. Okay, if you've downloaded the latest patch, which is title update 1.1.2, you'll see some new idle animations. This is because one of the things the patch adds is idle animations to NPCs throughout the game. So take a look around and see if you can spot any new ones. A little tip here rather than an Easter egg, but still good to know, you don't have to zoom in and out to fast travel, there's a quicker way. Just use LT on your map to open the navigation menu, scroll to waypoints, and you can travel to any waypoint on any planet much quicker. Crawl through an event in Jabba's palace and you'll come across a certain bounty hunter. Yes, this is Boba Fett. This is following the events of The Empire Strikes Back after he's delivered Han Solo's frozen body to Jabba the Hutt. So right now he's in Jabba's good books. He's got about 6 months before he ends up at the bottom of a Sarlacc pit. Speaking of which, here is Han Solo frozen in carbonite. I only managed to capture half a second of it because I forgot to press record, but you get the idea. Now you'll see this Easter egg as you progress through the story, so it's not exactly hidden, but here's a little carbonite fact to go along with this. Before the invention of the hyperdrive, early spacers would freeze themselves in carbonite to endure long voyages. Although when they eventually emerged, they had what's known as hibernation sickness. So God bless the invention of the hyperdrive. Did you know C-3PO and R2-D2 are in this game? Head to the Forgotten Outpost in Tatooine right here and you'll find them rusting away in the corner. There are plenty of other models of both of these types of droids in the game. These are the 3PO series Protocol droid and the R2 series Astromech droid, so you might think, oh, these are just random models of these two droids. However, Star Wars Outlaws is set just before the Return of the Jedi, and we know these droids are on Tatooine during this time, so these are almost certainly the droids we're looking for. Another small detail I love is when Kate is annoyed or frustrated, she uses the word kriff. This is basically the Star Wars equivalent of the F-bomb. So now you know what this translates to whenever you hear the word kriff. And you can hear it for yourself throughout the story, but especially when playing sabacc.
Oh, dank Ferric.
When exploring the cantina in Mos Eisley, head to the bar and read this data slate to see a familiar message. It reads "No droids," which is a reference to A New Hope, when the bartender tells Luke to make his droids wait outside. He just doesn't serve their kind here. a certain character's house can potentially be spotted on Tatooine, none other than the house of Obi-Wan. This is located in the Pillar Forest. Now I say potentially because this house doesn't exactly replicate the Obi-Wan house we've seen in previous portrayals, but I think this is at least a reference to his house considering it's way out in the middle of nowhere, and why else would the developers model and place this house right here? What do you think though? Let me know in the comments. Next up, the achievements contain tons of Star Wars references, so let's run down a few of them. How Rude is a reference to everyone's favourite Gun Jar Jar. Sometimes I amaze even myself is what Han Solo says to Leia after helping rescue her in A New Hope. No match for a good blaster is another Han Solo quote from A New Hope, the full quote being, "Hokey religions and ancient weapons are no match for a good blaster at your side." And Think I Had a Choice is what Han tells Greedo when he explains how he got boarded. Actually, come to think of it, most of these achievements are Han Solo quotes. Head to the Ashiga clan war room on Kijimi to find a very famous weapon, the Wookie crossbow blaster, otherwise known as the bowcaster. First appearing in A New Hope, bowcasters are more powerful than standard blaster rifles, but also said to be much heavier, meaning few humans were capable of using one. Basically, you need the strength of a Wookiee to actually use this thing. That's why it's slightly odd Han Solo was managing to use one during the events of The Force Awakens. Maybe, I don't know, Chewbacca modified it and made it a bit lighter. Some more bowcaster history for you. Bowcasters were based on ancient weapons from Wookiee history that fired poison darts and arrows. Chewbacca actually crafted several of them himself, with the first one built from a stormtrooper's backpack. How it works is that two polarizing orbs balanced on each end of the bow create a magnetic field that boosts the bowcaster's power. Let's head to the space around Kijimi now for our next Easter egg, a weird object found in the nebula. It sort of has a similar design to the Ashiga clan located on the planet below, sort of this insectoid looking thing. But as Kay says, she thinks it might be alive. So what exactly is this? You may have already found this Lovecraftian monstrosity, but you probably don't know what it is. Well, it could just be a mysterious alien creature. We know there's plenty of those in space. But since it's not moving and it doesn't appear to have any intelligence, I have an idea what it could be. For me, the closest thing I can compare it to is a ship by the race known as the Yuuzhan Vong. In Star Wars history, the Yuuzhan Vong travelled in massive world ships to come to the galaxy during the Battle of Helska 6. They were almost completely destroyed, leaving only rogue elements inside the galaxy. Only a few traces remain. Traces like this ship. The Yuuzhan Vong was first mentioned in Vision of the Future. This is a Star Wars novel published in 1998. They first appeared, however, in Crimson Empire 2, Council of Blood in 1998 as well. Although it is worth mentioning the Yuuzhan Vong were retconned, so maybe it's just a weird, unknowable alien creature. Which is even more terrifying. Okay, here's a quick little detail I love. In one of the food minigames, Nix gets his tongue stuck on the ice.
Oh, you're supposed to wait for it to melt. Hold on, Nick. Oh, harder. There we go.
And here we have the krayt dragon, the classic krayt dragon. This isn't really hard to find as you go through the Outlaws story, so let me hit you with a little krayt dragon lore. The term krayt dragon is actually an umbrella term referring to a number of large carnivorous reptilian species that live on Tatooine. This includes a venom-spitting 16-limbed species, the smaller and more common canyon krayt, and the mythical winged krayt. Not many people have seen that one. These are the apex predators on Tatooine, and were even known to eat sarlaccs and then live in their sarlacc pits. Despite their fierceness, however, krayt dragons are also hunted for their precious pearls, which are found in their bodies. Here is an A-Wing, a ship you see only occasionally in Outlaws, although you may not know that this is a modified A-Wing. It's called an RZ-1 A-Wing, which is a repurposed variation of the vehicle that strips out a lot of the parts. Why does it strip out a lot of the parts? Well, it's to make it faster than any other ship. Yes, this is even faster than a TIE Interceptor. It's essentially just a cockpit with a hyperdrive and a pair of engines. If you go into the Pillar Forest, there's a quest marker where you can pick up a Nyx trinket. However, this isn't the Easter egg I am talking about, because near the trinket there's a crashed low-altitude assault transport, otherwise known as an LAAT. Now, when you get close, Kay will drop some lore facts. The first fact is how she calls this particular ship a civilian ship, which means LAATs were sold as military surplus after serving in the Clone Wars. In other words, she's just revealed these are now glorified station wagons. Anyone can buy and fly around in this. And that just opens up the door to more vehicles being sold as military surplus. Imagine someone getting their hands on an LAAT and riding it to the shops. The second fact Kay drops is that there's an artificial sea on Canto, which is where she's from. Not an artificial lake, an entire artificial ocean. Now that is a pretty big feat of engineering. So head to the Pillar Forest on Tatooine to hear these lore drops for yourself. And finally, one last Easter egg, and according to this article on Games Radar, this is one no one has found yet. Star Wars Outlaws game director Matthias Carlson said, quote, "I know of one very specific Easter egg relating to Massive that no one has found yet, and that's all I'll say," end quote. So if you like Easter eggs, there's definitely more in this game to discover. That's going to do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Hit the subscribe button for more Star Wars Outlaws videos.